Hey guys, it's iTech of a week. In this video, I'm going to give you my full review of the iPad mini. I got the black 16GB and Slate 1 Wi-Fi only model, and I've been using it for about a little bit over a week here now, and I feel comfortable with the device, and I think I used it for long enough to give you my full review. So the first thing is, I haven't really been a big iPad person. I haven't really played around with one for a while. So when I first took this out of the box, in my unboxing, I thought it was actually kind of heavy, but that's just because I was using the iPhone 5. And really, if you compare this with any other tablet out there, I mean, any other iPad out there, I'm not sure about the other tablets, but if you compare it with the iPad, any other iPad out there, it's super light, and it works great. Like if I'm just browsing Twitter, I can hold it up with one hand even here. I can go up and down my timeline. If I'm browsing a web page, I can scroll up and down, even with one hand very nicely. My hands are somewhat on the large side, so it may be hard if you have smaller hands, but it's not too difficult there. And especially because it's light, I can hold it up for a long time, and really it does not get too tiring. As for the thinness of the tablet here, I'll go ahead and compare it with the iPhone 5 and kind of give you an idea there. But you can already tell that it's extremely thin. I think it's just slightly thinner than the iPhone 5. I'm not positive on that. Let's see if we can get the closest possible. Actually, they're pretty even there, but I can't get it too good on camera just because I'm holding them up here. But when I held them up before, the iPhone 5 is just a little bit thicker, I think. So that's pretty crazy for a tablet to be that thin. And the edges on the tablet here, I talked about this in my first impressions video. The edges are rounded. They're kind of like taper at the end there, and it's rounded so it fits perfectly. So it just fits comfortably in your hand there. And then on the bezel here, it's cut just how the iPhone 5 is cut as well. Let's see if I can get you an idea here. I think they said it's been cut with a diamond, but I think you guys can tell if you see that reflection there, that's where the bezel is cut, and it's cut with a diamond, and it almost has like this mirror reflection. It's cut like so perfectly. So if you use the iPhone 5, let's see if I can do it right there. You can kind of see that reflection there. If you use the iPhone 5, it's the exact same bezel, and that makes it feel a lot more comfortable in your hand just because it's rounded a lot nicer. As for the display, now the display is one downside of the iPad mini. And I don't know if they did this just because they're trying to get that lower price point or what, but it's not a Retina display, which if you're coming from any other iOS device, I believe they all have Retina displays, like the iPad 4's Retina display, iPhone 5 does, the iPod Touch does. If you're coming from one of those devices and you're used to the Retina display, you'll definitely see the downgraded resolution in the iPad mini here, which it's not going to look as nice as the other devices there, so you're going to feel like you have a downgraded quality device. But it does have the same resolution as the iPad 2 and 1 of 1024 by 768. But because it is a 7.9 inch device over the almost about the 10-inch tablet like the iPad 2, it's going to look a lot nicer than the iPad 2. So if you're used to an iPad 2 and you're coming to the iPad mini, it's going to look a lot nicer. But if you're coming from an iPad 3 or 4, it's going to look like it's downgraded because it's not Retina. But overall, it does not look terrible. Like I'm used to it, and like I switched from the iPhone 5 to it, and really it does not look that bad, in my opinion. Because it does have the same resolution as the iPad 2, all the apps for the iPad 2 and all the other iPads out there, they will work perfectly, and they'll fit full screen on the iPad mini as well. So you don't have to worry about letterboxing or anything like that. So I'm not sure how that will work out in the next generation if they put a Retina display on it or not. But that is one downside to the iPad mini, is it lacks the Retina display, which I really would love. If it had a Retina display, I would love this tablet. Like, it'd just be the perfect tablet. As for the colors of the iPad mini, it comes in white and silver or black and slate, which we have here is the black and slate. It's the same, that slate black as the iPhone 5 here. You can tell it's exactly the same. As for the white and silver, it looks exactly the same as the white and silver iPhone 5. And again, I talked about this in my iPhone 5 review. In the iPad mini, it's because it's that same aluminum, anodized aluminum there, or whatever they have, it's going to be prone to scratches. So if you have like your keys or something scratching against it, it may scratch up easier than the white silver one. So if you are concerned about that, I would just go ahead and go with the white silver one. And when that gets scratched, it's not going to show up as much as the black one here. I haven't had any scratches. I've been using it for a week, and so I don't know if that'll be a problem or not. Over time, I would assume it would be, but not too much of a big deal there. To me at least. As for the ports, we have the lock right here on the top, just how it is on all the other devices. We got a little cutout here, which I would believe would be for the mic. Then we got the headphone jack on the top here, and that's a little bit different. On the iPhone 5, they moved it down to the bottom here on the lower left. But then on the left side of the device, we have absolutely nothing. On the bottom of it, we have stereo speakers there and the lightning port, of course, that all the new iOS devices have. The speakers there, they work great. They're loud, they're clear. They even have a little bit of bass to them. They're the best speakers I've heard on an iOS device. I'm not sure how the iPad 4 speakers sound, but as we're comparing the iPhone 5 to this, the speakers in this are just way better. They're louder, and they're pretty clear. So that's definitely a great upgrade to the iPad mini. And I believe on the other iPads, I believe they don't have stereo speakers. I believe they just have one mono speaker. So I would assume the iPad mini speakers might even be better than the iPad 4 there. On the right side of the device, we have the volume up and volume down, and then we got the lock switch there as well. In the back of the device, we have the camera there with no flash. I'll get into camera quality in a little bit here, but then for everything else, we just got the black Apple logo and then iPad down here with some more information. So as for camera quality on the iPad, I haven't really taken any photos, but I have pulled up the camera app and noticed that it's a little bit fuzzy. I believe it's a 5 megapixel rear sensor here that shoots in 1080p. So it's a little bit fuzzy. It's not terrible, but it's not that great either. And like I said, it does not have a flash here. So I don't know if that I don't know if it'll bug some of you guys or not. Honestly, it doesn't have that great of a camera to start out with, so you're not going to find yourself really taking too many photos in the dark even. But it's not really a big deal to me. But again, it may be bothersome to you, and that's just one thing I felt that I should share with you guys and let you know. Then for the front FaceTime camera here, it's a 1.2 megapixel sensor. So that's really not that great of quality, but it's just a front FaceTime camera. And it does shoot in 720p, so that's a lot nicer. But the cameras, both of them, as for the front and the rear one, they don't shoot in too great a quality, but they're not terrible either. They're right in the middle there. They're pretty decent. Like I was saying before about it being used as a one-handed device, you can see I can fit my entire hand around it. So you can somewhat use it as a one-handed device, but not completely. As for the processor in the iPad mini, it's the A5 processor, same as the iPad 2 as well. And I haven't really experienced too much lag. Like I can flip through this, all the pages and everything, open up games and folders and everything smoothly. As you can see, everything's pretty good there. Browsing on the web and everything was pretty smooth. The only time I had one lockup, or actually a couple times this happened, was if I refreshed a page and right after I refreshed it, I'd hit the bookmark bar, tab or whatever it's called in Safari. It would lock up there. And I have a screenshot of it and I'll kind of show you it. But you can see I got the web page loading there. And then the bookmark bar is highlighted there. So I tapped on it and it was just stuck there for a little bit, kind of locked up. And then eventually, once it caught up, it unlocked there. So that's the only really problem I had with locking up. Everything else has been perfect. Browsing Twitter has been completely smooth. Playing back music and everything's when it goes fast. Changing tracks and everything's good. Doesn't take a lot of time to load anything really. So the processor gets the job done. As for RAM in the iPad mini, I don't believe it's a gig. I think it's half a gig if I remember correctly. We'll go ahead and open up Geekbench here. Or actually, oh, there it is. Let's see what Geekbench says. I can't remember. Yeah, we got 503 megabytes right there. The processor is the ARM v7 at 1 megahertz there, and it is the A5, like I said. Another thing you guys may be wondering is if it has Siri. It does have Siri, if you were wondering that. So there you go. I'll just go ahead and open up Siri there. And there you go. You can see that's Siri right there. And I haven't really used Siri. Siri is more something I use with my iPhone. But when I have used Siri, it's fast with the responses. Like it doesn't lock up or anything, and it gets the responses back pretty fast. As for the battery usage on the iPad mini, it's pretty crazy. I've gotten days of usage out of it. So right here, this is the best time I got on the iPad mini. And this is under normal usage, just browsing Twitter, browsing the web, some playback of Netflix, some playback on YouTube. Nothing too crazy. I had the brightness at normal, which it's about right now. I'll see what it's at. Brightness. So it's towards the bottom here, but I just keep auto brightness on. So it's at about 25% bright here. I also, when I had that 1 day and 2 hours, I had a little bit of usage in gaming even. So it has crazy battery usage. So that's definitely one of the most positive things I can say about the iPad mini is its battery usage. So that pretty much concludes my iPad mini review. I think I covered pretty much all the things I can really say about it. It's overall a great device. I think it's well worth the $330 I paid for it. One thing I would like to see in the next one would be the Retina display. If it had a Retina display, it'd just be the most perfect, well-rounded device out there. Unless you have a problem with iOS, but I have no problem with iOS. I love iOS. I don't know if they're going to change that or not because they have to keep the price low on it. I think that's one of the main reasons they released the iPad mini was to get that lower end market, like the Amazon Kindle Fire and all that stuff out there, the Nexus 7. I think they released this to compete with those. It is more than those, a little bit over 100 hours more. but I think it's definitely worth the money. So if you want a little bit of a better quality, I think the iPad mini is going to be perfect. If you don't want to pay the $500 for the actual full-size 10-inch tablet. I think I would prefer the iPad mini over the 10-inch tablet. Even if there wasn't a price, I think I would just like it over it, just because it's small. Just overall, there's no really negatives I can say about it except for that display. That display it bothers me, so I'm gonna keep saying that. But if that's not a bother to you, it's gonna be perfect. It's I don't know, it's small, it's mobile, it's light. You can use it with one hand for the most part. It's an overall great device. It feels great in the hand because of those well-rounded edges, and I really don't have any negatives I can say about it. Unless you're not an iOS person, there's nothing I can else say that's bad about it. So I'd recommend this to anyone that wants a smaller tablet, that doesn't want like the full 10-inch tablet like the iPad. I think it's well worth the price, like I said earlier. And they're gonna have the 4G LTE models coming out sometime in November here. So if you want to pick up one of those will be released soon. As for the other prices, this is the starting price at $330, Wi-Fi only 16 gig. As for the LTE versions, I'm not positive on the price for those. But just go ahead and I'll put a link in the description, so you can go ahead and click on that, and you can see the prices for the iPad mini over at Apple's website. But that concludes my iPad mini review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate a like down below. That helps me out. If you want to share the video, I want to remind you to hit that share button down below as well. And if you want my future videos, go ahead and subscribe at top, and that'll notify you when I release those. I'll have progress updates to the iOS 6 untethered jailbreak. So as the developers of that jailbreak release stuff, I will go ahead and post updates to my channel. So you want to keep updated with that, go ahead and subscribe at top, and that'll notify you when I release those. I'll also have the tutorial for the jailbreak when it's released, and I'll have more tech videos to come. I think I'm going to pick up the Nexus 4 here on Tuesday, or not pick it up, I'm going to buy it online. But I'll have some videos on that to come, so I'll get a little bit more into the Android category there. I don't really have any Android content, but I'm going to move over into that a little bit. If you guys want my other iPad mini videos, I'll have a playlist for those. If you want to check out my iPhone 5 videos, I have a playlist for those, and I'll annotate both of those. And if you want some information on the jailbreak, I'll go ahead and link you guys to my newest jailbreak update. If you guys didn't know, jailbreaking iPads has become illegal, so I'm kind of curious as to see how that's going to play a factor in this jailbreak for the iPads. So if you want any information on that, I talk about that in my latest jailbreak update. So if you guys want to see any of those videos, I'll have them annotated or linked below in the description. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.